All right, let's dive into the chilling symbolism inside one of Edgar Allan Poe's greatest works, The Masque of the Red Death. Now, this isn't just some spooky story. It's a masterfully crafted allegory about the one thing absolutely no one can escape. So let's get into it. This right here, this is the key to the entire story. Poe is basically telling us from the get-go that all the wealth, all the power, and all the parties in the world, they're just temporary distractions. The real guest of honor is, and always will be, death. Okay, so picture this. The story kicks off with Prince Prospero, who decides he's going to cheat a horrifying plague, the Red Death. How? By locking himself and 1,000 of his rich friends inside a massive, walled-off abbey. He creates this little bubble of pleasure and art, thinking his iron gates can keep reality out. But as we're about to see, he's only managed to trap himself with the very thing he's terrified of. Now, this is where it gets really brilliant. The abbey itself, it's not just a backdrop. It's the central symbol of the whole story. Poe designed it as this carefully constructed allegory for the human lifespan, and believe me, every single detail is a clue. You know, what Poe uses here is something called a unified allegory. And what that means is that everything, the way the rooms are laid out, their colors, that giant clock, it's all working together in perfect harmony to just tear down Prospero's illusion of safety. The message couldn't be clearer. There is no escape, because the path to the end is literally built into the architecture of his world. So check out how he builds this. The abbey has 7 colored rooms, and they're set up from east to west. This is a genius way to mirror the sun's path across the sky, which of course represents the journey of life. You start in the blue room in the east, that's birth, and you travel through all these stages of life until, well, you inevitably reach that final black room in the west. And that of course symbolizes death. And get this, punctuating this whole journey is a giant ebony clock. Every single hour, its chime is so deep and so strange that all the musicians have to stop playing, and all the dancers just freeze in place. It's this constant, chilling reminder that time is marching forward, bringing everyone closer to the end. It's the sobering rhythm of reality crashing their little fantasy party. So that brings us to the story's other huge theme, the total failure of wealth and power when they come face to face with the laws of nature. Yeah, Prince Prosper might be the master of his little abbey, but he is absolutely not the master of time or fate. Not even close. And this is where you really see the clash, right? On one side, you've got the prince's illusions, his iron gates, his royal commands, all his money. But on the other side, you have unstoppable reality. Time just keeps ticking, the sun keeps setting, and the end is always inevitable. It's a really powerful look at how fragile our egos are when we're confronted with something so final. So when a mysterious masked figure suddenly appears at the party, Prospero is furious. But his anger isn't really about some party crasher. No, it's the desperate, terrified rage of a man realizing that all his power is completely meaningless. He's not fighting an intruder, he's fighting the terrifying truth of his own mortality. And everything we've talked about, it all builds to the story's dramatic and frankly unavoidable climax. The party has hit its final hour, and reality is about to come crashing down. This mysterious figure starts moving slowly, silently through the colored rooms, and the prince, armed with a dagger, chases after him. He's moving steadily from east to west, from the blue room to the black room, and he doesn't even realize he's tracing the exact path of his own life, right to its very end. And then, the ebony clock chimes for the very last time. It strikes 12, midnight. The final hour has come. When Prince Prospero finally confronts the figure in that black room, he just drops dead. The other guests, horrified, rush in and unmask the intruder, only to find there's nothing there. The masked figure was never a person. It was the Red Death itself, the plague made real. The ultimate guest has finally arrived. And just like that, everything stops. The flames in the braziers just go out. The ebony clock stops ticking, forever silent. It represents the total end of all human activity. Poe's message here is absolute. It ends with the dark triumph of reality over the desperate fantasies of mankind. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's a pretty grim story about a doomed prince. But here's the thing. The real power of this story is that Poe isn't just writing about Prospero's party. He's writing about ours. So what is the masquerade? Well, It's a metaphor, right? It's all the things we do to keep ourselves busy, to distract ourselves from that really uncomfortable truth of our own mortality. Our jobs, our ambitions, our endless scrolling on our phones. It's all part of our own grand masquerade, our own attempt to drown out the chiming of that clock. You see, Poe's story is basically a mirror. It's reminding us that our own lives are a journey through a series of colorful rooms. And every single tick of that clock brings us one step closer to that final Western room. We are all guests at this party, and for every single one of us, that clock is always chiming. So the story leaves us with one final, pretty chilling question. If you look at your own life's journey, from the blue room of birth, moving towards that black room of the inevitable, which room are you in now? And more importantly, are you listening to the clock?